Before we begin this video, I recommend that you visit google.com and search for dinadata.com. This website is a great resource for the latest updates on Dinar Guru news, all conveniently located on one page. For more information, I encourage you to visit the site.
Once again, the project to delete the zeros raises its head up. Yes, 2 more articles on it this period. There are other articles today related to the topic that help us understand and tell us they know what they have to do, and it's just a matter of time how and when they do it. The clock it's ticking. Tick, TUC, tick, TUC. Sala, the financial advisor, has talked about the float, a managed float or a mixture of the peg and the float which would be considered flexible. These guys are going to do what they think is the most positive, they're not going optimistic and feeling great. Mark is having stem cell treatments to try to arrest the progress of muscular disease. I do have an update directly from Pops this morning. From Mark's, thank you all for the prayers and well wishes. I am hearing a lot of hopeful bond talk for later today. I also have multiple reports that currencies are not paying out yet. US State Department, our commitment to the relationship with the Kurdistan region is firm. Sala was talking about the floats and he was also talking to us about fixed rates. He's saying no decisions have been made. They talked about the pros and the cons of each one of these options. Then the CBI came out and said in the coming days we will make actions to lower the dollar exchange rate. Frank, can the CBI lower the dollar exchange rate? No. Yes. How? Firefly, the CBI's job is not to control the dollar. They can't touch a dollar, but the CBI can touch the dinar. If they lifted the value of our currency, wouldn't that bring down the value of the dollar in our country? Let's see if that is the only thing the CBI could do to bring the dollar down is raise the dinar. They say in coming days Iraq avoids the grey list. Iraq was on a black list at one time. Then they moved to the grey list, which we thought, wow, that's pretty good, we're moving forward. Now they're saying Iraq has avoided the grey list. Quote, in a remarkable development, the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Office in Iraq announced the country is far from being included in the grey list after the mutual international evaluation Iraq underwent for 14 months. Sounds pretty intense. What happened to Kuwait basically is the same thing. Whatever is happening to Iraq, it happened already to Kuwait. After the war, Kuwait went back to normal. The American people who held and bought those notes when it was down made a lot of money. That's for sure. Now the scenario is repeating itself with Iraq. Iraq avoids the grey list, temporary victory or the beginning of a new crisis. Government advisor, Al-Aq's upcoming visit to New York will support the protection and stability of the banking system. Quote, the Prime Minister's advisor for financial affairs, Mazar Mohammed Saleh, pointed out that the file of the sanctioned banks requires negotiation due to the possibility of an error or exaggeration in issuing the decision to sanction them. There will be meetings held with the Federal Bank and the U.S. Treasury Department at the end of this August. Saleh on TV talking about the possibility of using the dinar instead of the dollar on oil sales. He's talking about how and why. Frank, Sadoni is now sending people on a daily basis out to talk to you. If it's not Saleh talking to you about the monetary reform, it's Alak reminding you you're going to get purchasing power, then it's himself that comes out and tell you the project to lift the 3 zeros is still on the table. We're going to give you purchasing power like we promised you this year. Your purchasing power is coming. What were they doing in the background? They were destroying money. They didn't tell you how much money they destroyed, but they're saying they're having a problem with liquidity, a problem. To meet the need for Iraq dinar, they're going to need money to be replaced. Could that be the new small category notes with more value? Why in the world would you go out and destroy a bunch of money? Make it into pellets for burning, when you're going to go and create new 25k notes. Does that make any sense to anybody? Do you think they built that big, huge massive building, to have more inflation and a cheaper exchange rate less than 1,310? That's what they would be doing. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The U.S. Energy Information Administration announced on Sunday that Iraq's oil exports to the United States of America increased during the past week. The administration said in a schedule seen by Shafak news agency, the average U.S. imports of crude oil during the past week from 9 major countries amounted to 5.623 million barrels per day, an increase of 1.425 million barrels per day from the previous week, which amounted to 4.198 million barrels per day. She added that Iraq's oil exports to America amounted to 194,000 barrels per day last week, an increase of 51,000 barrels per day from the previous week, which amounted to 143,000 barrels per day.